Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. Michael Darcy, your host here as always. And today I'm recording this video live from the Sports Radio 810 WHB studios. And today I'm going to talk about the Chiefs wide receiver core, and specifically two wide receivers that I think are the biggest topic of conversation as to whether they are going to make the team in a couple weeks. And those two wide receivers are Kadarius Toney and Skyy Moore. Now, if you guys remember last year, the Chiefs easily had the worst wide receiver core in the NFL. From top to bottom, there was not a single guy outside of Rashee Rice that was worth their weight in salt. I mean, they were terrible. But the Chiefs went out this offseason and they signed a guy in Hollywood Brown who has been a perennial number one wide receiver for a couple different teams. And they went out and spent a first-round draft pick on Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy, one of the fastest wide receivers in NFL history. He was the fastest wide receiver clocked at the combine, running a 4.21, I believe. So he's lightning fast, and that could solve a lot of the Chiefs wide receiver issues, just opening up things over the top. But that leaves guys like Kadarius Toney and Skyy Moore up for debate. Do the Chiefs have room on the roster to carry both? Would they carry both after what we saw last season? In this video, I'm going to do my best attempt at giving my explanation as to which guy has the best chance of staying, but also rationally giving, what I think is the correct take on what should happen with both of these guys for the future. So if we look at it objectively, both wide receivers have a lot of issues going for them. Kadarius Toney costed this team 3-4 games last season with his inability to catch the football and hang on to the football. We lost that Lions game because of him. Later on in the season against the Patriots, he bobbled a ball which got intercepted, and from that point on, he was pretty much benched. But Skyy Moore has been pretty ineffective his entire career here in Kansas City, not ever being able to catch on, and his main problem is getting effective snaps. He'll get snaps, but he's only had 43 catches for under 500 yards and 1 touchdown in 2 seasons in Kansas City. And I know a lot of people are holding out hope that Skyy Moore is going to turn into this wide receiver that, he's not going to be a number 2 wide receiver, but maybe he turns into this team's third option. I don't have that level of optimism that a lot of people do with Skyy Moore. I'm done. I think that Skyy Moore has shown over the past 2 seasons that there really isn't going to be much upside. And that sucks because the Chiefs spent a second-round draft pick on him in 2022, but I think that what makes a team great is being able to identify weaknesses and then cut those out. And last season, when the Chiefs had the most success offensively, it was when Skyy Moore and Kadarius Toney were not on the football field. If it was up to me, both guys probably would have been cut before the end of last season. Now, I'm not the owner and general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, so I can't make those decisions. And clearly they were right because they kept guys like MVS and Justin Watson and even Mecole Hardman that made pretty big catches down the stretch in the postseason and helped the Chiefs win their second Super Bowl in 2 years. But I think going into 2024 with the current wide receiver core the Chiefs have, you don't need to continue to throw out guys like Toney and Moore. You have your answer at wide receiver now, and if it's not Hollywood Brown and it's not Xavier Worthy, you're going to have a lot more issues than if Kadarius Toney and Skyy Moore are going to try to fix that. So I think the Chiefs are pretty set at wide receiver. If I was to go down the list of wide receivers I think are guaranteed to make the team, I think you go Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Mecole Hardman, Justin Watson. That gives you 5. And honestly, I think if the Chiefs are going to try to carry a fullback in Carson Steele, he's looked pretty good in training camp, or they're going to try to carry an extra corner or a defensive back, they might not carry 7 wide receivers or even 6 wide receivers. If you want to carry a 3rd or 4th tight end, you're going to have to make some cuts at a position that, that you might be deep at. And I think the Chiefs have a pretty deep wide receiver core, but if they do carry 6 wide receivers, is it going to be Kadarius Toney or is it going to be Skyy Moore? I know a lot of people have thrown out the name, Justin Ross. I think Justin Ross is a practice squad wide receiver at best. And I think it's going to come down to either Toney or Moore because the Chiefs have a significant investment in both of those guys. Not as much of an investment in Kadarius Toney. They traded, I think it was a third-round draft pick to the Giants, and right away, Toney made an impact. I mean, he had that big return in Super Bowl 57. But I think realistically, the guy that the organization has the most investment in is Skyy Moore. Skyy Moore got drafted for a second-round selection. He's done nothing in Kansas City. And honestly, he hasn't looked good in camp. So if it's coming down to a decision between those two guys and the front office wants to try to get something out of that second-round selection, Skyy Moore might be the number 6 wide receiver on this team. And personally, I disagree. I think that if I was constructing the roster, I would have Kadarius Toney as the 6th wide receiver, and I don't feel great about that, but at the end of the day, I think Kadarius Toney offers more in terms of pure athleticism than Skyy Moore does. Listen, I understand that Kadarius Toney was a hindrance to this team. He couldn't catch the football. He couldn't hold on to the football. But Skyy Moore, when he has been on the field, has been ineffective. Kadarius Toney, if he's on the field, he's doing something. It might not be a good thing, but with the ball in Kadarius Toney's hands, we've seen in the past that he can be a difference maker with the football. Now, last year he was a negative difference maker, but that athleticism and the upside is higher with Toney, which in my opinion makes him a better 6th wide receiver for the Chiefs. Now, ideally, the Chiefs wouldn't be in this position if they selected, maybe a 2nd wide receiver later on in this past draft, but they didn't. So we're stuck with either Toney or Moore. I know a lot of people have thrown out the name Nico Remigio. I don't think that he makes the roster over these two. Again, you have to think about the football politics side of things and the investment the Chiefs have in both of these players. But if I'm Brett Veach, if I'm Andy Reid, and I'm looking at this objectively, you need to be able to look at Skyy Moore and say, you know what? We tried. It didn't work. Let's end it. And you could honestly say the same thing about Kadarius Toney, and I would be okay with that. But if the Chiefs are going to take one of these two guys, I would prefer them to take, Kadarius Toney. The athleticism, the upside, I think that the off chance that he does get put in a high leverage situation and has an impact is higher than it is Skyy Moore. And I hope the Chiefs are thinking about that because with the new kickoff rule, with punt returns, Kadarius Toney has the opportunity to make people miss that very few guys do in the National Football League. So if I was the Kansas City Chiefs constructing this roster, I think Kadarius Toney should be the number 6 wide receiver on this team. But guys, let me know down in the comments below who you think should be on this team. I know there's still a lot of people that believe in Skyy Moore, and there's still a lot of people that believe in Kadarius Toney, but there's also a pretty large subset of people that after last year, they're done with both of them. And honestly, guys, I'm not going to fault you for that. I could definitely see, the Chiefs being better off letting both of these guys walk and find another team. I've seen the rumors that Skyy Moore could get traded for like a late pick swap or something like that. I don't think those rumors have any validity because Skyy Moore is not worth a pick swap. Nobody's giving up a pick swap for Skyy Moore when he has proven nothing in the National Football League. He caught 1 touchdown in the Super Bowl, and it seems like that is his career accomplishment. That is his career highlight. It's more than a lot of people can say, but he has done little to nothing in the regular season. So I do think that when push comes to shove and the Chiefs have to make a decision, they're going to go with a more high upside guy in Kadarius Toney. But let me know down in the comments below which wide receiver the Chiefs should have make the final 53-man roster. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for future Chiefs content. Go check out my work on the Bleacher Report mobile app. The link to that will be in the description. And also this season, I have joined the AFC West Roundtable with a couple other creators. And each and every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we are going to get on a live stream and break down everything that is going on in the AFC West. So if you want to see that, the link to that will be in the description. Last week, there was a lot of Raiders fans. I hope to get the numbers up and get the Chiefs fans flooded into that chat and just show everybody that the Chiefs fans, the Chiefs kingdom is the best in the NFL. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs.